Are your watercolors a little wonky? Well, you're gonna love this little brush that I'm gonna share with you today because it does so much. Not only does it fix and erase, it also dreamifies, softens, lightens. I use this brush so much. I use these brushes in almost every painting and I love them so much, especially when I'm painting on cold press. But you can also use softer brushes when you paint on hot press, by the way. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting so excited. I just want to tell you about these awesome brushes. And my particular problem in this painting of the Siamese cat, which by the way is a 3-hour long tutorial that is full of so many good lessons, including how to paint the cat, of course, but also the ornaments and the tree and the Christmas present and how to balance out a fairly complicated painting in the end and how to pull a painting together. There's so much to learn in this tutorial. But in this particular painting, the problem that I had towards the end was I had wonky balls. That's just not okay. So I had to fix my wonky balls and I couldn't have done it without these brushes. So you'll see me using these brushes in a few different ways to soften, lighten, and fix. And my wonky ball is gonna go from oblongish to perfectly round and soft and beautiful. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, another thing I want to do is soften these edges. So I'm going to get a scrubber. And usually with a scrubber, you want to wait till everything's bone dry to scrub any one area. There are a few different things you can use to scrub. This is an oil painting brush. This is a stiff oil painting fan brush that I cut off really short for really detailed work. This is a Royal & Langnickel size 2 stiff scrubber. And this is a size 8 Royal & Langnickel stiff scrubber. And I also have soft scrubbers that belong to the same line of scrubbers. So there's soft ones and there's stiff ones. You don't want to use stiff ones on any delicate paper like hot press, student grade paper. But if you're painting with Arches cold press or bow hung, or maybe some other cold press papers take scrubbing. I haven't tried them all, but I do know that bow hung and Arches cold press are good ones to use with stiff scrubbers. That's one of the reasons why I used Arches cold press on this painting. I wanted to be able to adjust and have the most freedom. So these are great for erasing pencil lines and also just softening edges and fixing little mistakes. So a perfect example of what I use a soft scrubber for is to soften the edge of his chest here. That's fur that meets it's white and it's against a darker background. That needs to be softened. The edge of this ornament needs to be softened. And I'm going to use it to try to change the shape of my ornament here. So again, we want to work on bone dry paper and get your scrubber wet with clean, clear water. Let's see if we can adjust this ornament. I feel like it's perfectly round except this little hump here. So I'm just going to take that off and look what a great job it did. That's all it needed. And then after this dries, I can go back in and paint more cat around it if I feel like I need to. And I'm going to soften the edge here around the ornament too. And that just makes it look more natural anyway and more a part of the painting. Oh, I've just noticed I need to put in more details right here, but you can just soften edges so things look more incorporated into the painting. And usually you want to blot. So look how much better that looks. And then this edge too would be better if it was soft. Most harsh edges where there's a big contrast between light and dark, like on these edges, really can benefit from some very delicate scrubbing. And it's been about, I don't know, 2 months since I played with this, and I'm glad I haven't sent it back. I haven't sent it off to its new owner yet because I just want to fiddle with this a little more. So I'm just going to get some really delicate burnt sienna and just bring that up to the edge And then I'm going to get some delicate blue gray, just with junk on my palette, just whatever I have really. Ultramarine and lamp black, namely. And I'm going to blot. Kind of a dry brush effect. And I just want to close in that white space. I'm going to clean up my brush. Now I just have clean, clear water on a damp brush, and I'm just going to scrub it over this area to just blend it all together. And it didn't take much to soften this. And you can even pull some of that red and obliterate this boundary a little bit. To make it look more natural. That looks good. Well, that ball looks a lot better, thank goodness. Let me show you a few more things you can do with this brush. All right, another place that I'm just really itching to scrub is his chest. I want to bring back some lightness, I'm hoping. So I'm just softening that edge. And then this, I lost this highlight that should go up through here. So look how I can bring it back. This is the beauty of scrubbing, especially with burnt sienna. It just comes up so nicely. Look how that came back. Next, I want to show you how I like to dreamify things. I like to take an area that has a lot of stiff, tight elements and soften and dreamify, and it's really beautiful. So let's take a look. If you want to soften some of these harsh whites in here, it might make your tree look a little dreamier, but then it will lose some of the pop. So I don't know what would look better. I kind of like some of these harsh little flickers of white in the greenery. I just think it makes it look really nice. Overall, I like it. You can add a little bit of softness here and there though. That will look good, I think. All right, next I'm going to show you how you can lighten with this brush. Oh, one place that really got too dark is the top of his head. Let's see how much it'll let me lift in here. Bring back that highlight that's on his top of his head. I use this, like I said, I use this brush in almost every painting. What if you're not painting on cold press paper though? What if you're painting on hot press? Well, I have found that at least the hot press paper I use, which is Stonehenge Aqua, also lifts beautifully with a slightly different brush used for scrubbing, and it's a soft scrubber. Now, Royal & Langnickel makes a stiff scrubber like this, but they also make soft scrubbers. But if you don't have those, and you may not, if you have some acrylic painting brushes, you can just use those. You do not have to get, you don't have to go out and buy new brushes. For years before I bought these stiff scrubbers, I didn't even know they existed. I used oil painting brushes for my stiff scrubbers. And also I often use, even though I have soft scrubbers, the official scrubber brush, I still often turn to my acrylic painting brushes that have a little bit more snap in them. And I use those to scrub when I'm working on more delicate papers like a cellulose student grade paper, when I'm working on my Hippie Crafter student grade paper, or when I'm working on hot press paper. For example, I was recently painting a picture of my son Parker, and his eyes were so wonky. One was bigger than the other, and it didn't look good. So I busted out my soft scrubber. I used, in fact, an angled shader. Where is my angled shader? Can I show it to you? Okay, so this is an angled shader, and it's an acrylic painting brush, but you don't need this exact brush either. Any acrylic painting brush will work. But let me show you how I moved elements in Parker's eye to make one eye smaller and one eye bigger. So they looked a little more balanced and he didn't look so wonky-eyed. All right, so here we have a painting of my son Parker, and notice how one eye looks quite a bit larger than the other one. In the reference, it was a little bit different, but not this big of a difference. So I'm taking my angled shader. You have to wait till your paint is completely set and dry, and you get your scrubber of choice. In this instance, I'm using a soft acrylic brush because I'm working on hot press paper. I dip it in clear water and I rub it on the offending place and then just dab up whatever I scrub up. And voila, look at that. That black eyelash is completely gone. So let's do it over here on this eye. This eye needs to be bigger. So wait till you see how big of a difference I'm able to get with this brush and what I'm able to fix. I'm going to make this slightly bigger. So if I make his left, our right eye slightly bigger and his right, our left eye slightly smaller, they will match a little bit better. So I waited till the painting was completely dry after I had used that damp scrubber on it. Really, it's not a scrubber, it was an acrylic painting brush. So you probably have brushes in your arsenal that you could use now that you could use for scrubbing. You don't necessarily have to buy scrubbers. And here I'm just painting back in the pupil, and notice how I attach that pupil to the eyelash. That's just a little bonus tip. Whether you're painting cats or dogs or people, whenever you can find a way to attach the pupil to either the eyeliner or the eyelash, it'll just look more incorporated into the eye. So that eye is a little smaller now. Now let's make this eye a little tiny bit bigger and see how much more balanced they look. Again, attaching that eyelash to the pupil. And by the way, I do have quite a few portrait painting tutorials now. I wouldn't say I'm a portrait painting artist, but I am determined to paint Parker for a national level competition. And also, I just love to paint Parker because he's my son and I love him. So if you are interested in learning how to paint some portraits and you kind of want to learn along with me, because I feel like I'm still learning quite a lot, I do have a lot of content now on my Patreon for painting portraits as well. All right, those look a lot more matchy-matchy, which is what we want. Now I'm putting in a little cerulean. Since we're here, another little eye trick that I often use is to have part of the iris a full-on blue color or whatever color the iris is, and then another part of the iris I usually leave a lot lighter, and often another third part of the iris I'll make darker, and that just makes eyes look more alive for some reason. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. So are you all surprised? Did you know how fixable watercolor is? I use these, like I said, I use these to lighten, to soften, to dreamify, to blend, to take hard edges and make them lost edges, or softer edges at least. And as Charles Reed says, you should roughly have half hard edges in your painting and half soft edges in your painting if you want a dreamier look, more painterly look in your work. And these brushes can help you very frequently achieve that goal. So I hope that was helpful. All right, thank you so much for joining me for this tutorial. I have a few more tutorials all lined up, so there will be more content coming. And so stay tuned. I have a lot of good stuff coming. I hope you all are enjoying your holiday season. And as of this filming, Thanksgiving is about a week away. And I'm so thankful for all of you for spending your time on my tutorials and watching my content. I appreciate you so much. I love hearing from you in the contents. No, not the contents. I love hearing I love hearing from you all in the comments too, so be sure to leave me a comment and come join me on my free Facebook group where you can post your paintings or you can look at other people's paintings, and we all share our knowledge together and lift each other up and really help each other out move along our watercolor journeys a lot faster, just like on this channel, where you learn not just the how but the why of watercolor, so you move on your painting journey a lot faster. You can also follow me for free on my Patreon. So that's a new option on my Patreon too. And just kind of stay in closer touch and see what I've been up to. I have a lot of fun paintings coming up I'm so excited about. If I don't mess them up. Yes, I might. So anyway, I hope you all are having a warm, wonderful holiday season, and I appreciate you so much, and I'm so thankful for you. So until next time, go watercolor your world. Bye, everybody.